episodes of Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain reviews went live today. The thing is, a lot of these reviews are based on review events and restricted access to code that's about as exclusive as the guest list on Groznygrad. We're still waiting to get our hot little hands on the game, but Matt Wales has written a first impressions piece for Eurogamer in lieu of a full and proper review based on final retail code landing a bit later on. So let's take a closer look at Matt's thoughts on the game to fill the time before we can play it ourselves. In many ways, The Phantom Pain is the antithesis of CD Projekt's lavish high fantasy dazzler. The Witcher 3 is a game of meticulous world building, where rich environments meld with a sweeping narrative and winning characterizations. Swords aside, it is a warm bubble bath of a game. But Matt continues by saying Metal Gear Solid 5, at least in the early stages, sounds a lot more like a dirt bath. It offers miles upon miles of desolation to explore on the back of your pooping horse, he writes, only occasionally punctuated by an enemy outpost, an abandoned village, or an industrial military facility. Bold stuff. That does sound pretty brave. A lot of open world games are big but feel empty. Not on purpose, but through shortcomings of their design. It'll be interesting to see how Kojima makes The Phantom Pain feel purposefully barren instead of just boring. Metal Gear Solid 5's open world might not be vast, varied, or stuffed full of things to do, reads the impressions piece, but it's a place of constant movement. Night falls, day breaks, sandstorms sweep in, patrols come and go, and this organic sense of life means that missions are never predictable, no matter how often you play them, with tactical possibilities arising all the time. It's a game of planning and reacting in a world that refuses to stand still, making every minute matter and every success feel earned. Matt also says that The Phantom Pain, from what he's played, is sparse on story elements, save from a butt-crack-filled opening sequence. Butt cracks aside though, that just doesn't sound like Kojima at all, but perhaps he's channeled his love for the odd and eccentric into other areas. There are bound to be plenty of wonderfully strange moments, the kind we've come to expect from this series, but gameplay has always been one of the great triumphs of the Metal Gear series, and that tradition, by all early accounts, continues with The Phantom Pain. Says Matt, Metal Gear Solid 5 is a game that delivers its singularly ambitious vision, absolute freedom within the stealth genre's familiar framework with laser-focused clarity. If you did get your hands on last year's Ground Zeroes, a sort of prologue to Phantom Pain, then you've already had a taste of what to expect. But by the promising sounds of it, Phantom Pain takes that framework and stretches its scope much further. With all that said, Matt does concede that The Phantom Pain isn't exactly a radical reinvention of the stealth genre. It's still a game of sometimes glacial subterfuge that borrows liberally from all across Metal Gear's history. You'll hide patiently in bushes, slip silently through the shadows, and bonk unsuspecting enemies on the head to the strains of 80s pop. Even your objectives aren't particularly inventive, rarely getting more complex than stop this vehicle, kill this man, or blow up this funny looking machine. Although Kojima still knows how to surprise with an outlandish set piece. The difference is the sheer amount of freedom you're afforded to reach your goal. We've seen glimpses of that freedom in the footage of the game released thus far. The loadouts that you can access before you undertake a mission let you choose your method of approach, the equipment you'll take into the field, and the buddy you want by your side. You can plan your attack in detail before you ever take to the field, in other words, but there are lots of things you'll need to decide and deal with on the fly too. So The Phantom Pain is both a continuation and an evolution of what we know and love about the Metal Gear series. That said, it seems like Kojima has refined a lot of his methods and poured his creativity into gameplay and strategy rather than lengthy cutscenes. So The Phantom Pain doesn't exactly fit the mold of a Metal Gear game, but as Matt mentions, it's a new type of Metal Gear game, one that places importance on player freedom and freedom of strategy. And even though it's Kojima's last Metal Gear game, early indications give us every reason to think that The Phantom Pain might just be his best one. And that's saying something.
I was born in a small village. I was still a child when we were raided by soldiers. Foreign soldiers. Torn from my elders, I was made to speak their language.